House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer, meanwhile, is now demanding the White House to correct the record. And that is President Biden's claim that it's not true that his family members received more than $1 million from a Chinese energy company. You remember the clip we played for you this week where a reporter asks the president and he denies it. Comer writes this: President Biden's statement was misleading and dishonest. The committee received the bank documents from a financial institution pursuant to a subpoena. Joining me now is Tennessee Congressman and member of the House Oversight Committee and House Foreign Affairs Committees, Tim Burchett. Congressman, thanks very much for joining us. We so appreciate your time this morning. I want to get your thoughts on this and also about what Comer told us, that he's got 11, there's potential for 11 more deals. If they pocketed $1 million from this one deal, what else did they pocket and what about these other deals? Your reaction. Here's the president, by the way, denying it. Watch.
We think there are as many as 11 more deals. We don't know what the Bidens did in return for this money. The lawyer said that it was seed capital for a business. We haven't been able to find a business, Maria. Right now, it looks like the Biden family just pocketed this money.
Any reaction to House GOP's new memo about your family dealing?
The family deal.
Hunter Biden's business associates sent over $1 million to 3 of their family members. Any reaction to that report?
It's not true.
He said it's not true, Congressman.
Well, he's either cognitively not able to recall it, which is possibly a situation, or probably he's lying, is what I think. They received $3 million, Rob Walker did, and then in 2017, and then he doled it out to members of the Biden family, at least 3 that we know. And so I think it's pretty evident that Jamie Comer has the goods, as they say. He has the receipts, and you and I both know it. And the president is lying. His administration is lying. And this is a cover-up, and this is corruption.
Congressman, why is this important? Explain to our viewers why you and your colleagues are focused on this.
Well, when a foreign national makes large cash contributions to someone and then they deny it, you always worry about it, especially when it deals with the communist Chinese. And that's exactly where we're headed with this. I mean, it's obviously that this administration is completely compromised top to bottom, and we've said this from day one, and now we have the proof, and they're going to run and hide like cockroaches when you turn the lights on, because that's all they know to do, and they think they're going to run the clock out, but they're not going to be able to, Maria. We're going to be able to get to the bottom of this, and I believe there's going to be some embarrassed folks.
Well, I mean, embarrassed? Well, what about, stomping out the corruption and how about some prosecutions? I mean, the FBI has been sitting on Hunter Biden's laptop since 2019. They're apparently investigating him, and nothing has happened. You and your colleagues have been stonewalled for the most part. So are you really going to be able to get to the bottom of this and get some accountability?
I think so. I think so. I think the American public are going to demand it. The FBI as we know, at the top level has been corrupted as well, as in complete denial. But at some point, they're going to have to be called in. And now with the Republicans controlling the checkbook of the Justice Department, that's how we'll get their attention.
All right, so you'll use the appropriations process then. James, jump in here.
Congressman, we've been talking on the show now and again about the difference between this and the Clinton money-gathering efforts around the world. The Clintons often ostensibly were operating on behalf of their charitable activities. The Bidens, they don't seem to have developed any story. So is Hunter Biden going to have to say publicly what his expertise is in Chinese energy or Ukrainian natural gas? How is it, or is he already trying to craft that story? It seems like it would be difficult to piece together after the fact.
I think the arrogance that you're seeing right now is very evident. I don't think they're going to, like I said, they're going to try to run the clock out, but they'll have a hard time running from our subpoenas, because that will draw him in, and he will have to appear, or he will be arrested and brought in.
Kayleigh, jump in.
Congressman, we know from one of the Biden family's former business associates that Joe Biden himself is reportedly referred to as the big guy in an email that was found on Hunter Biden's laptop. What are the chances that the big guy, Joe Biden, is the unidentified Biden family member in the recent bank documents that you guys were able to get?
I think that's probably, that is very likely. That is very likely. But how we prove that is another thing. We'll have to bring somebody in that will have to say that. And I suspect Mr. Walker, facing federal time, will come forth with the proper information.
Let me switch gears and ask you about the Manhattan DA. Alvin Bragg's office is responding to House Republicans' demands that he testify about his investigation into former President Trump. A spokesperson told Fox News Digital, quote, "We will not be intimidated by attempts to undermine the justice process, nor will we let baseless accusations deter us from applying the law fairly." Congressman, I mean, here's this quote that could be used, from Trump to the other side to them, because there's not been a fair application of the law.
Not one bit. You have a Soros-backed DA who's given $1 million to run. Another radical. People I talk to in New York are leaving as fast as they can get out, and the ones that are able to, just because of the corruption and the crime that is not going punished. And here you have a misdemeanor where the statute is obviously run, the statute of limitations is run. They're treating it like a felony. They're treating it like a capital crime. They're in total denial. President Clinton paid over $700,000 in hush money, and no one was indicted or brought to court because of that. So there is a complete misuse of the law here, ma'am, and it's a misuse of tax dollars. And Jim Jordan is correct when he stated that we need to find out if the federal Justice Department worked in collusion with them, and if federal tax dollars were used in this witch hunt, because this is really what it is.
Yeah.
If they want to propel Donald Trump back to the White House, they're doing a pretty darn good job of it.
And I'm glad that you went through the issues around the attacks, around the money taken from the Biden family, because these are national security issues. And now we've got the Texas Department of Safety apprehending 6 more Chinese nationals at the southern border on Tuesday. Fox cameras were able to capture video of Chinese migrants being released publicly into Brownsville, Texas. Customs and Border Protection sources say that they're being let go because there are so many Chinese nationals crossing in now. No more space to house anybody. Congressman, what's going on here? Because I know that the CCP has abused the visa process in the past, but they don't have to come all the way to Mexico to get into America, and yet they are. So what are your thoughts in terms of whether or not there is a broader, bigger plan here, that the CCP is sending spies in or sending people in that will ultimately report back to the Communist Party?
Oh, 100%, Maria. They're as I've stated many times, our research institutions, our colleges and universities have been completely infiltrated by the Communist Chinese, and this is just another attempt. These people aren't coming over here to work in migrant labor. They're not working in agriculture applications. They're not going to be working in motels. These folks are over here to spy on Americans and to report back to China. And it's and this White House, again, as I've stated, has been completely compromised by just denying that this is even going on. And the numbers of people that we found on our terrorist watch list, the liberals will say, oh, the system's working because we're catching them. Well, hell no. The system's not working because we don't know how many we're not catching. I was in Del Rio, and they had they were telling me, and some days they have over $1,000 a day. The processing center there alone costs the taxpayers $16 million a month just to process these folks, and they're going to be released into America, and they're not going to show back up for court. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The whole thing is a scam. These people are anarchists that are running our country right now, Maria, and people need to wake up because we are losing our country, and we'll do it, and we'll completely capitulate, and when we have an incident with Taiwan and they're infiltrated within every aspect of our country, you'll see riots, you'll see a shutdown of our systems. And we've got to stop this.
This is so disturbing, Congressman. Look, we've been putting a spotlight on this issue for several years now. We'll keep it up. Congressman, thanks very much.
Thank you,
Tim
Maria.
Burchett joining us this morning.
Thank you.
Good to see you, sir.